Hello and welcome to today's demonstration. What we'll be going through today is a full demonstration of Bitrix24. So if you are new to Bitrix24 or if you are currently evaluating the system, we'll be going through all the different modules and features that are available in the system for you today. So who are we? We are Bitrix24 Gold Partners Interface, and my name is Sam Connor, Sales Engineer here at Interface. We're based in the UK, in New York and Dubai, and we offer a full range of services to help you with Bitrix24, from pre-sale support, where we can run through your requirements and set up a custom demonstration for you. We can implement the system into your business and provide any configuration or customizations you require. For the self-hosted edition, we also offer hosting services, and we can provide you with training and ongoing premium dedicated support. So what is Bitrix24? So if you're new to Bitrix, it is a collaboration suite of sales, project and task management tools, HR and collaboration features. And we'll be running through all of these features in the system today for you. There are over 8 million customers who use Bitrix24 around the world, and it is available as a cloud or a self-hosted solution. And prices start from $39 for a cloud edition, and a self-hosted begins from just under $1,500. So to begin with in the demonstration today, we'll be looking at the login and the portal of Bittrex and some of the additional self-hosted features that are available. And then we'll start to look at the CRM and marketing features available in Bittrex. So we'll look at how we can capture and qualify leads and work our way through our sales pipeline. We'll then see how we can build a 360-degree view of our customer activity, and we'll then look at the marketing and analytic features available inside the system. Okay, so first of all, what we can see here is the Bittrex login page. So for the self-hosted edition, this can be fully rebranded. So if you want a white label solution with your branding on, the self-hosted edition is the solution for you. So we can brand up and change the images here. And you can also have your own domain when you log into here. So we can log into the system, and this will then open up the Bitrix24 portal. Now, Bitrix24 also has a desktop application, and there is a mobile app as well, which we'll look at later on in the demonstration. But first of all, just to explain, as we've logged in here, on the left-hand side, we can see all of the different modules and menus that we have access to. And we also have a search facility here. So this is a universal search area. So I can search through the system to find any specific details or information that I now want to start working on. Within the Bittrex system, each user has their own profile. So I can go into my profile here, and I could add a real image there of myself, and I can add details here. So I can select from fields here, or I can add my own custom fields to add information to my profile. Now, one of the additional features with a self-hosted is you have access to what we call the control panel. So this is really for your administrators, because with the self-hosted, you have access to the source code, and it is a fully customizable solution. So what we can do here is I can open the edit mode. And what this will then allow me to do is I can come into any sections here, and I could create pages, or I can edit features as well. So I might want to edit some of the menu items here. So it gives you that level of customization if that is something you are looking for. So I can, for now, I will just turn off the edit mode. And we also have access to the back end of Bittrex with the self-hosted solution. So you're able to access the source code and customize the system. So that's one of the additional features of the self-hosted, and we'll run through some other areas of the self-hosted later on in the demonstration. One last thing to point out before we go into the CRM features is it's very important to set up your notifications. So within Bittrex, there are 3 different ways we can set up notifications. First one is through the system itself. We can receive a notification in Bittrex. We can also be sent a notification via email. And through the mobile app, we can receive a push notification. So you can decide how you would want to set up your notifications in the system. Okay, so the first area we're going to look at today is the CRM system. And before we go into the CRM, we're going to look at what we call the contact center. And the contact center has many integrations with different platforms to sync communications into Bittrex. So for example, we can integrate with your email system. So all of your emails with your clients and leads can be synced into the CRM. So it gives you a full picture of all of the conversations you have had with your customers. We can also integrate telephony. So if you want to receive inbound calls directly in Bittrex, if you want to make calls from the CRM, we can integrate with your telephone system. And there are different ways to integrate telephony. So you can rent a number from Bittrex. You can also, if we have your telephone provider in here, there are 72 ready-made integrations with different phone providers we can connect through. Or we can use the Office or Cloud PBX connector to connect to your private branch exchange. And within the contact center, there are many social media integrations, such as Facebook and Instagram. So if you have business accounts with these providers, any comments that are made to your accounts on Facebook or Instagram, those can be synced into Bitrix24. So you can reply to any of those messages directly in Bittrex. And that, for example, could create a brand new lead in the system. There are also many popular widgets such as live chat. So you could embed a live chat widget onto your website and manage all of those conversations directly inside the system here. And you can also create website forms. So you might want to create a form to embed onto your website or on a landing page for a promotion. And when somebody submits their details from that form, it can then automatically feed into Bittrex. And for example, that might create a brand new lead and inquiry in your system. So we'll just have a look actually at a form that we have created. So here we've made a landing page for a cake competition. And actually this landing page was created in Bittrex. So that's another feature that you can use in the system, is creating landing pages and websites. And here we've embedded a form. So I've got some simple generic details here, such as name and email. And then I can select what flavor of cake I would like to get. And then once I've submitted that, we can see here in this CRM system here in the Bittrex, I've received a notification that somebody has submitted a form. And if I now go into the CRM, what we can see is that 13 seconds ago now, we have now received a new lead inside our lead database. So that's one way of automatically generating new leads in the system using the website forms. They're a really powerful tool inside the contact center. So that's how we can integrate with different platforms to feed communications into Bittrex. And now let's have a greater look inside the CRM itself. So here we can see inside the CRM, we have leads, deals, contacts, and companies. So as standard here, leads are our inquiries. And what we can do with our leads is we can progress them through different stages to qualify them. So to try and see if this is an actual sales opportunity. And these stages that you progress through, they are fully customizable. So you can have as many or as few stages as you require. You can change the name, you can change the colors. So it's fully customizable to your lead process. And you can also change the layout. So if you want to restructure the display here, you can change that display. And you can also select what data you would like to input into the system here. So you can create custom fields and then add that information into this list view. There is also a slightly different view, which is our Kanban view. And here we can see the stages of our lead qualification across the top. And I can then progress the lead through those different stages like so. You also have a search facility. So you'll see throughout the CRM, you can free text search, or you can also filter on any fields in the system. So I might want to look at those of a certain responsible person and based on certain stages. So it is a multi-field search facility, and you can save those filters to quickly access this information. And we'll just go into a lead page so we can see some more information here about this lead. So on the left-hand side, we can see the lead contact details. And you can create custom fields. So you can create a full variety of custom fields here. So if there's specific data or information you would like to capture, you can create those custom fields. And you can even then change the layout here as well. So you can customize the layout in the lead page here, and it's the same in deals. And you could then set that display for maybe certain teams or departments. And then on the right-hand side, we can see the activity feed. So this shows us all of the information, any communications that we have had with this lead. So here, for example, we can see some emails that were sent. We can see who is responsible. And further up here, we can see some planned activity. So we can see an outbound call that's been scheduled. We can also add notes. So if you wanted to add notes about this lead, you have a note-taking facility here. And you can also upload documents into this section. And once you have added that information, you can then send this into the activity stream here. So this shows you all of that activity. And you can filter through this if you wanted to find specific details. So it's very useful. You don't need to go into several different pages. It's all stored in this one page. So it's easy to find specific information. And we can then also schedule future activity. So I could add maybe a new call for tomorrow into this lead page, and I can then receive a notification. You can also send SMS if you integrate with a provider. And if we've integrated our email, I could type out an email here, or you could even create templates with your branding and signature and send that straight out from the lead page. And what we'll see here in leads and deals is we can run automation. So here we can see the different stages for our lead qualification. And then at each stage, we can have automatic activity take place. So for example, at the new inquiry stage, we are sending out a thank you email to that person for submitting their inquiry. At the first call stage, we're going to have the responsible person going to schedule a call and maybe create a task at the follow-up call stage. So you can have automatic activity take place, maybe client communications, or even you can integrate with Facebook and Google Ads to send an advertisement to that lead at a particular stage of the lead process. So it's a very powerful tool to automate processes. And we can also create triggers. So a trigger will automatically update the stage of the lead for you. So for example, if a link is clicked on an email, that could then automatically update the lead to a particular stage of your process. So for example, now if I go to the follow-up call stage, we can now see automatically a task has been scheduled for me to schedule a meeting with this lead. So that shows you some of the automation in place. So once we've qualified that lead and we've seen it's an opportunity, what we can do is we can turn that into different entities inside the CRM. So for example, we might want to create a contact record, so a record in our CRM for that contact. And you can also create a deal. And a deal is where the sale is an opportunity. So we can segment that sale into a specific segment or pipeline. So when we do create a deal, we can select what pipeline we would like to segment that sale into. So here, for example, that's based on geographical location, but that could be based on different products or services that you sell. So for example, an estate agent may have a rental pipeline and a sales pipeline. And we'll see when we go into our reporting how we can then build reports based on those different pipelines. Okay, so now we'll move into the deal section. So these are now we've qualified our leads. Here are our sales opportunities that we are trying to close and win those sales. So within deals, we can filter into different pipelines. And what's very useful is within each pipeline, you can customize the stages that you go through to close that sale. So if you do have pipelines for different products and services you sell, it may well be likely that you have different sales stages that you need to go through. So you can fully customize those stages in every pipeline. And if we go into one of our deals, we can see actually the layout is very similar to leads in the sense of the contact information is on the left-hand side. So now as we saw when we changed that lead and changed the entity into either such as a deal, we've also created a contact. So I can see the contact that now is associated to this deal. And within a deal, you can associate multiple contacts or companies. So it may be that you have a lot of people that are actually associated to this deal. So it's possible to add multiple participants into that deal. And then on the right-hand side, we can see all of the activity and any historic communications associated to this deal. Now, what we can do in a deal is we can generate a value. So in here, we have a product tab. And what this allows us to do is input products from your product catalog. So you can add all of the products and services that you sell, and I can then select those products into the deal here. So I can then generate a value for that deal. So I can add my product, maybe I want to change the quantity, or you could also add a discount. So I can then add that product information into the deal, and it then generates us a value here that we can see. And I'll just come out of this because what's very useful, if you do have a value associated to your deal, if we go into the Kanban view, what we can see here are those deals in a card display. And when we update that deal to a next stage, it will then automatically update the overall value at that stage. So this is a really nice display to see the value of all of your sales at different stages of the pipeline process. And if we just go back into that deal, once we've generated a value, we can then also generate financial documents such as quotes and invoices that we send out to the customer. So what we can do is I go through here to generate a quote. It populates all of that information that we have entered. And what you can do is you can upload your own templated documents and save those into the CRM. And we can then populate the information from inside the deals or leads to generate you that document. So here, for example, we have a quote template, and Bittrex will then populate that information so I can send this quote out to the customer. And we can see on the right-hand side how we can send the quote out via email, or we might want to download this, or you could even send a public link. So you can send a link of this file, and it can be password protected for you to send out to your customer. So we can see here that quote, we've added some branding, and it's brought through all of that product information. And for your quotes and invoices, you can create custom stages. So we might want to indicate where we're at with our quotes or invoices. So I can see we're currently waiting on the client for this quote. And you have a quote and invoice databases. So if you wanted to see all of the quotes that have been generated in your CRM, we can see all of that information here in our quote database. So this is a really nice display to see where your quotes are at in the system. And if you needed to filter to find specific quotes, I can create filters in here to find any specific quotes in our database. And that's exactly the same for your invoices as well. Okay, so that's our deal section, how we can progress deals to generate sales. Now here we've also got our contact database. So this is the where you can save all of your customer information. So we can see all of our contacts here. And you can use the search tool if you wanted to filter through here to find specific contacts. And if we open a contact page, we can see all of the contact details information. So we can see Mark Moon here is a sales manager. And we can associate contacts to companies. So here Mark Moon is a sales manager of Techco, and you can associate a contact to multiple companies in the system. On the right hand side, we can see all of the communications and details we have had. So it really does give you a 360-degree view of all of the information with this contact. And we can see all of the deals the contact is associated with and what stage they're at. You can also see all of the quotes and invoices as well that they are associated to. So it's a very useful way to integrate all of the different sales and opportunities that are associated to our contact in one page. Now you can also, as we saw earlier on, create custom fields. So here we've created a way of segmenting our contacts in the system. And if you do create any custom fields like that, you can then filter on any of those custom fields in the system. So here, for example, I might want to just look at all of our VIP customers in our contact database. And we also have a company database. And the key difference here in the company database is that you can associate multiple contacts to a company. Okay, so that's our lead, deal, contacts and companies. We've seen how we can schedule a lot of activities and tasks. So you also have an activity section, and this will show you all of the activities that you are associated to throughout the CRM. So for example, I might want to filter and look at all of the calls that I have scheduled today, and I can then see all of those inside my activity area. Okay, so this is the CRM system, and we've seen a lot of data and information. So there's important features here to build reports as well inside the CRM. So here, for example, you can use the Kanban and the list view to see where your sales are at in the pipelines. So this is a very useful view to see the value of your sales at different stages. We also have a Crm Analytics Module, and this feeds all of the information from your CRM into really an analytics feature to build your own reports. So here I can see our lead report, so I can see how well our team have converted leads in the system. You might want to set sales targets for your team. So here we can see how well our team are tracking to the targets that we have set inside the system for them. And if we use deals, as I mentioned, you can create different pipelines. You can actually create different dashboards of reports for every pipeline you have in the system. So here I can see our sales funnel for our UK office. I can see the value of all of our deals. And all of these reports, you can change the layouts, so you can customize the layout of the dashboards. You can also create your own reports with these modules, and you can configure what data is being made to construct these reports. So they are customizable reports in the analytics module. And we also have a report builder. So you can use this report wizard to build your very own reports from scratch. So I can choose which area of the CRM I want to report on. And I can then build out the title and the description of the report. I can then choose the date range I want to cover for that report. And I can then select what fields of information I want to add. You can then also create a filter. So you might want to filter based on a specific pipeline, for example. And there are different types of charts that you can add as well. And it might just be a report for myself, or I could share it with particular colleagues or groups or departments in the system, so you can decide who can access those reports. And I just wanted to quickly show you a new feature as well that is available in the CRM. So within leads, deals, contacts and companies, a new feature that is available is the ability to integrate with Zoom. So a lot of people are remote working and using video conferencing tools. So what you can do is you can schedule meetings and use the Zoom facility. So here I can schedule a meeting in the system for myself, so it shows my availability, and I can then create that meeting. It will then automatically create that Zoom meeting in the system, and I can click on that link and it will then open up that Zoom meeting in the Zoom application. And those meetings, if you have a commercial Zoom license, will automatically be saved in this contacts page. So if you've had that Zoom meeting scheduled with this contact, Jack Bishop, if you record that Zoom meeting on a Zoom commercial plan, it will be saved in the timeline here for you. So that's a really nice new feature available inside Bitrix24. And the last area I just wanted to cover inside the CRM is the marketing module. So the marketing module integrates with the CRM system. So it feeds all of that contact and lead and deal information into the marketing module. So here we can choose the type of campaign we would like to create. So for example, we might want to create an email campaign. And you can upload your own HTML, or there are lots of templates that you can use in Bittrex. And once you go into here, you can customize that campaign. And it's very simple. There is no coding involved. I can add my text, I can upload my images, and it's all done in block format. So I can change the structure of this. I might want to upload my own code and add my HTML. And once you've created that campaign, you can then preview what this displays like on different devices. So a phone, a tablet, and a desktop. And you can also send this out to test mode recipients as well. Now, it could be a blast email you're sending out to all of your contacts. So it could be a newsletter. But what you can also do is you can send out your marketing campaigns to specific segments. And this is a really useful way of targeting your marketing material. So for example, we saw earlier on how we segmented our contact database. So I might want to send this campaign out just to all of our VIP customers. So it's a really targeted marketing campaign then. Or maybe we might want to send this out to all of the people who are our contacts at a specific stage of a deal process here. So we looked at the UK pipeline. We might want to send this campaign out to everybody who are at a specific stage of that sales process. So it can really act as a call to action. So you can really target your marketing materials using the CRM marketing module. And you can also personalize each campaign. So you can feed in the name of that contact. So you can really personalize each campaign that you send out. And once you have sent that campaign, you can see more analysis. So here you can see the recipient list, the status, and if they've read that campaign. And you can also see a more graphical representation. So we can see how many views and how many clicks we've had on that campaign. And further down here, we can also see a click map. So we can see where on that campaign our clients have actually clicked through. Okay, so that's an overview of the CRM and the marketing features available inside Bittrex. And now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the tasks and project management features inside Bitrix24. So we're going to look at our project work groups and how we can manage tasks in the system. We'll also see how we can automate processes and also invite users who are not part of Bitrix24 into our projects. So first of all, I just want to show you the different types of groups that we can create in the system. So we can see here we can create work groups and we can create projects. And the key difference here is within a project, you can have a start and an end date. So if you manage tasks inside your projects, those tasks have to be completed by the end date of the project. So you can set time parameters on a project, whereas a work group could stay open forever. And there are different types of work groups and projects that you can create. So for example, you can have an open project, and this is open to anybody in Bitrix24. So any user can invite themselves into that project, so it's an open collaboration area. You can also have private projects, and a private project is where the project manager will invite in specific people who are working on that project. So it is a closed, secure project environment. And you can also have external projects. So an external project is where you can invite somebody who is not part of Bitrix24 into that project or work group. So this could be a third party or a supplier or a customer, for example, that is working with you on a project. So when you go to create a workgroup or a project, you can give that project and workgroup a name and a description. You can also upload an image, and then you can add your start and your end dates if it is a project. You can then select the project owner, and you can also then have moderators, so a kind of a middle layer of management, and then invite in the other people who will be working on that project. Okay, and what's very useful within Bittrex is when you create those workgroups and projects, you can select what features you would like to have enabled. So it may be that you simply have a project where you are managing tasks. So you could just enable the task feature, and then you don't have any of the other features in that project. But it may be you want some drive space to store documents. So you can really customize every single workgroup and project that you create. Okay, and so within the workgroup area here in the projects, these are all of the different projects and workgroups that I'm a member of. So let's have a look into one of our projects to see what this looks like. Okay, so we're in what we call the BizTech project. So this is the project homepage. So on the right hand side, we can see all of the details about the project. We can see the assistants and all of the different members of the team who are working on this project. And this is the newsfeed area. So here we can see any conversations, any details that have taken place in this project. So it's very simple to keep up to date with any information in the project. And you can also create your own messages and posts. So I could have a message go out to the team. And that will then be sent out to all of the members in our project team. And we saw earlier on how we can set notifications. So now everybody in that project, if they have that notification enabled, will receive a notification that I have posted a message into the system. So that's a way of communicating with the rest of the project team. You can also create tasks. So this is a really critical feature in projects, or a way to manage our tasks. So inside Bittrex, you can create tasks for users. So very similar to how you created a project, you can give it a title and a description and upload images. And you can also add checklists inside a task. So I can add different items that need to be completed. And for each item, you can have different people who are responsible. So that's a really nice feature that you can create. And once you've created this information, you could save this as a template. So it may be that you have tasks that are repeated quite often. So I could simply use a task template and it will automatically populate that information for me. And another feature you can enable is you could repeat a task every certain time period. So maybe especially for accountancy firms, you might have certain tasks that have to be completed every single month. So you could enable this feature inside your tasks. And within the task area here, we can then see all of our tasks. And there's lots of different ways we can view tasks. So we can see these in a list view, and you can filter through these to find specific tasks in the system. We also have that deadline view we've just seen, which I think is a very useful feature. So if you have deadlines on tasks, this view enables you to see really where you should be prioritizing your time based on those deadlines. And you can click into any of these tasks and see more information. So here this opens the task page. We can see all of the details about that task. You can see the checklists and what's been completed. And within a task, you can record time. So we can clock in and out of tasks. And you also have a comment section. So this is really useful if you're really targeting your communications. So on each task, you can have a conversation area where you can comment and collaborate with other people in the project. So that's tasks, and as I say, there are lots of different ways you can view tasks. So another useful display is the Gantt chart. So we can see here the red line indicates the deadlines. So we can see how close we are to hitting our deadlines on all of our tasks. And you can, on the self-hosted or on the professional cloud, you can also set automation rules. So we can set different stages for our tasks. And very similar to the CRM automation, we can then have automatic processes take place at those stages. So for example here, if the task becomes overdue, so if it passes the deadline, we're automatically creating a trigger. So the task will be updated to the urgent stage, and then we're changing who is responsible. So it might go to a more senior manager, for example. So the automation is a great way to streamline your tasks and make them as efficient as possible and keep them on track. So that's how we can manage tasks in the system. And within this project, we saw how we could enable different features. Here we also have a calendar. So this is solely for this project where we can manage all of our different events and any updates and meetings associated to this project. And we've also enabled a drive area. So you can integrate with your local computer or external applications to integrate documents. And we can then, inside here, this is an area to store all of those files associated to this project. And we can also set permissions. So even within the project, we can set different levels of access rights on those files and folders. We also have a list view, and lists are ways of capturing data and information. So here, for example, we have an expenses list. So this shows us all of the expenses associated to this project. So this is very useful if you want to capture information and data. And we can also run what we call business processes. And I'll go into this in some more detail shortly, but it's a way of automating processes. So for example, here, when we have submitted an expense, we can send it to the project manager to either approve or reject that expense in the system. And within the project area, we've also got a chat facility. So this is an instant messaging system to communicate with the rest of your project team. And you can also do video calls and voice calls through the system as well. So it's a really useful way to have instant conversations with the rest of your project team. So that's looking at one individual project. You also have a task and project area. So this shows you then all of the different projects and tasks we're working on. And this is a Gantt chart view, so we can see all of the tasks across the different projects that we're working on. So this gives you a really good top level overview of all of your projects in the system. We can also look at the involvement tab. So this shows us what each user is working on at any given time. So if you wanted to maybe set a task for the 27th here, we can see Max Smith is available. So I could then create a task for Max Smith. If you're a manager of users, you also have a supervising area. So we can see here all of our members of my team, and we can see an efficiency score. And this efficiency score is calculated based on the number of tasks that they have completed on time or they are currently working on that are within deadline. So this is really useful to see how well they're working on completing tasks on time across all of their different projects. So we can see this information, and you can also build your very own reports. So very similar to the CRM, you have a task reporting wizard. So you can create your very own task and project reports, give those reports a name and a description, and choose your time period for reporting. And you can then select, very similar to the CRM here, you can select the fields, you can create filters to filter on different information, and you can then also create different types of charts for your task reports. And we mentioned as well how we can add external users into projects. So I just wanted to show you what this would look like. So the external user feature is very useful. So you can invite people who are not part of Bittrex into your projects. So here, for example, Tara Green is an external user, and they are a member of our BizTech project. So we've just looked at this project as an internal user, and we can now see what this looks like as an external user. So we added a message here about that meeting. So I could add comments back to that message. I could also add my own messages to the rest of the team. So you can set different levels of access rights. So you might just want the external user to have access to tasks. So you can decide what level of access they have. But here the user is able to see all of the tasks they're associated with. They can see drive files. Now you can see in the drive area, we've only given them permission to see a specific folder. So we've targeted what they can see, but we could let them maybe add files and folders or some information. So it's a really nice feature to really let that person who is not part of Bitrix24 collaborate and communicate with you on projects. And there is no limit to the number of external users that you can have inside the system. Okay, so that's a look at tasks and projects, so how we can manage projects inside a closed environment, how we can create tasks and automate processes. And we've also looked at the reporting and the external user features. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the HR and collaboration features available in Bitrix24. So we're going to look at the tools for how we can incorporate our company structure in the system, how we can find employees, and we will look at how we can record their working time and also any holidays or approval processes in the system. We'll look at the self-service forms and business processes we can create, and there are internal chat, video and voice call features which are very useful right now for remote working. We'll look at how all of this can be used as a remote working tool. Okay, so first of all, we'll just go into what we call the employee module inside Bittrex. So this is where we can build our company structure. So you can add all of your departments and then add each user to their relevant department, or it could also be multiple departments in the system. And we can then see all of those segregated departments here. So I think this is a really useful tool, especially if you've got new starters, and especially in the current climate, if from a remote working sense, they're not able to see all of their teams and departments. This gives you a really good overview of your company inside the system. And we also have an employee list as well. So we can see all of the employees in our system here. And we could add different fields of information. So you can decide what information is displayed in the employee area here. And I could then search through here if I wanted to find specific employees, and you can see if they're online as well. And you could click onto here and that will open their profile page. So I could then chat or video call to my colleague in the system. So it's a really easy way to collaborate and communicate with our colleagues inside Bittrex. That's how you can build your company structures and see the list of employees in the system. Now, we briefly talked there about communication. So I just wanted to take you into what we call the activity stream. And the activity stream is basically it's a modern intranet solution. So this is your personal newsfeed. So any activities, any posts or submissions that you are associated to, they are fed into the activity stream. So this is personal to you. So here I can see the message about that project that I'm a member of. So I can see all of that information. And what I can also do is I can post my own submissions in the activity stream here. So you have a messaging tool here. So maybe you want to praise people. So I could add a message into here. I can upload documents or maybe links or even video recordings. So I want to record a video and send that to a specific group of people. So I might want to send this to a specific user, or maybe I am recording a video to go to our sales team. So I'm talking about how well the sales have gone this week. So this is a really useful way to add communication and send and submit this to the rest of our teams inside Bittrex. So I can then submit that and it will go to everybody who is part of the Sales UK team. Now there are different types of posts and submissions you can create. So here I could maybe create an event. So it may be a meeting that I want to create. So I can choose the time for this meeting and I can then add additional people into this meeting. And this can actually now include external users as well. So you can actually invite your clients or guests by adding their email address and name, and it will send the invitation to people outside of Bittrex. So here I can then add that time into the system. I can see internal users availability, and I can then save that meeting in the system. Another feature within the activity stream area is you can create polls. So I could add a question into here. So maybe I want to check what day is best for a meeting. So I can add that into there, and I'll just then copy this into the poll. So it's quite a fun and interactive way of letting people add their own choices onto any posts. So I can then send this, if I just add a group here, it needs to go out to a specific group of people. So once I have created that poll, I can then select who I want to send this to. So again, I might send this to a specific department, or it could be to everybody. And once I then submit this, it then allows people to select their favorite answer. So for example, here I might select Wednesday. So it's a really fun and interactive way of communicating with your colleagues in the system. And another useful feature is you can do appreciations. So maybe someone's done a really good job. So what I can do is I can actually send a badge to users in the system. So here I could select a badge. So let's go for a trophy. And then I can select who this is actually going to be sent out to. So it could be a particular user or somebody in the system. So I'm going to send this message to Claire. And then Claire will personally receive this appreciation. And that badge will be added to her profile. So if we go into my profile here, for example, I can see all of the badges that people have submitted to me. So we can see all of those appreciations in here, and I can click into those badges to see what people said. So it's just a little way of showing appreciation for your colleagues. And especially right now where people are working away from the office, it's a really useful way to keep morale up throughout your teams. So those are lots of the different types of ways we can send posts and submissions to the rest of our team. Now, another feature inside the area here are workflows. So what you can also do in Bittrex is you can use the workflow functionality. And for example, here we have a leave approval workflow. So these are ways to standardize different operations and activities that you may manage in your business. So you can actually manage holiday and absence leave inside Bittrex. So here, for example, if I submit this leave approval, I could choose my start and end date. And I then might have to select a reason for this leave. And you can customize the fields here. So you might want to actually get more information. So you can add additional fields into this workflow. And then I can submit that workflow in the system. And it will go to my manager to approve or reject in the system. And I just want to show you actually that process, but now in the background. So this is the leave approval workflow in our business process template. So here we can see I request that leave, and then it goes to my supervisor to either approve or reject. And then based on that, either approve or rejection, if it's rejected, I'm going to be notified it's been denied. And if it's approved, it's then going to be added to the calendar inside the time and reports section. So that's the approval process for our leave approval. But I just want to explain this process template. You can fully customize these. So you can actually create your very own business processes. So I might want to add different conditions. Maybe I want to pause the event for a period of time. So you can fully customize any business process inside Bittrex. So if you have certain standardized operations, those could be implemented into Bittrex using the process designer. And once you have created those approvals, so if that request had been approved in the system, we can go to our time and reports area, and we'll then be able to see all of those approvals for leave out of the system here. So I can see Harriet is off there and Mark is off on the 30th till the 1st. So maybe this is just for your HR team to see all of those approval processes in the system. So you can manage absences inside Bittrex. And so that's the business process for holiday management. Now, another quite new feature within Bittrex is the robotic process automation. So we've just seen there how we can use the business process designer to customize processes. Now, this works in a very similar way, but it is a more simplified version. So here, for example, we could see some different types of processes that we have added, such as business trips or expenses. And if we click into here, the functionality is very similar to the CRM, where we have different stages. So based on those operations that you want to automate into the system, you can create different stages here to manage that process. So for example, here is an expense. It's going to go to a supervisor to approve, and then it will go through to the chief accountant to do the final approval. So you can customize different stages for approvals and automations to manage your different workflows in the system. So that's a more simplified version of the process designer. So that's ways we can manage workflows. Now, another feature for HR is you can record time in Bittrex. So you can see here at the top we have a clock in feature. So users can actually record their working day inside Bittrex. So here I can start to record my time, and then my HR team could then have access to what we call the work time area. So when users clock in and clock out, we can record all their working time inside Bittrex. So here, for example, we can see Max Smith, and I can clock into here and see when that user has either clocked in and clocked out by. You can see when they take their break in the system. So you can see the amount of time each user has worked inside the system. Now you can also capture meetings inside Bittrex. So you can schedule meetings in the system here. So we can see a board meeting that has taken place here. And you can add agenda items and meetings. So you can record all of this level of detail for any meetings that you create inside of Bittrex. And you can even create tasks as well that are associated to these meetings. And we can see here who is assigned to attend this meeting in the system. So it's a way of recording all of that information inside Bittrex. And all of those events and tasks that we are associated to, they are fed into your calendar in Bittrex. So you get a calendar in the system here to have all of your events and any activities. So for example, this will feed in all of the activity from the CRM system for you. And we can integrate with external calendars. So that could be a two-way sync of activity with your external calendars. And you can also have access to the company calendar in Bittrex. So if you have company-wide events, you can add those into the company calendar. And based on permissions, say as a manager, you can have access to different users' calendars inside the system. Now, we briefly looked at this in the projects. You also have a drive module, and within the drive area, you have your own personal drive space. So here you can store documents and files and folders. So maybe this is where you store your contracts, for example. And I can then give sharing rights to maybe specific members of my Bittrex team. So maybe it goes to my manager who can have certain level of read access. So you can decide who can access any of your documents in the system. And as we looked at earlier on, you can integrate with your local computer or external applications here. And you can also have a company drive. So this could be your company library where you have files and folders. And again, you might want to set permissions. So say the sales team can have access to this contracts folder. So that's a quite useful feature that you can use. And we can also run business processes. So maybe once this document has been uploaded, it has to be approved by the business manager for other users to then access. So that will then go to the manager to approve or reject. Now, another feature you can use inside the drive area is if you do integrate with one of those external applications such as Google Docs or Office 365, you can actually then edit documents within the Bittrex system. So within here, it opens and connects with our Google document application. It then allows me to now start editing that document inside the system. So I can then start editing that document, and I can then save that inside the system here. And any changes that are made, they're all available for you to see. So I can see a revision history of all of the changes that are made to the system. So that's a really useful feature to manage your documents and edit those documents in the system. And really one last area of the HR functionality I want to show you today is the company pulse. So the company pulse is really quite a nice visual representation. It shows you which areas of Bitrix24 are being used the most. So this could be based on different users or company. So we can see, for example, tasks and projects is currently being used a lot. So it's just a nice overview here of which areas of Bittrex your teams are using. Okay, so that's the HR and some of those collaboration features. One last area I wanted to mention was with the self-hosted edition, you can also access what we call a help desk module. So within the help desk module, your either internal users or customers could submit support help desk tickets to your support team. So here we have a support area, so I could create a ticket inside here, so I could add my message about the problem. You could customize this, so with a self-hosted it could be branded up. So I could submit my details here and choose those different categories and submit that ticket to our support team. The second way is you have a support wizard. So here I can actually, as the team here, I can add different problems that our, say, customers could select from. And once they select an option, it then goes through to a next step where they add additional information and details. And this is a really useful way. So for example, if I choose a different type of problem, it then gives me a different question and I select from a drop-down feature here. So it enables you to really capture as much detail and information before that ticket is submitted. And the third way is you can have users send an email to a specific support email address, and that could automatically create you a ticket in your support system. So that's how you can submit tickets. And within the Bittrex system, if we go into the control panel, so we talked about this earlier on, this is really where your administrators and support team would be. You have access to the help desk module here. So you can see all of those different tickets that have been submitted. You can create filters to find specific tickets in the system. And you can then go into here and see all of the details and information associated to that ticket. I could then go into here and answer this ticket, and that would then submit an email back to the customer with details of our response. You can also set support levels, so you might want to set SLA agreements for specific customers in the system. So this is an additional feature available with the self-hosted edition, so you can manage support tickets in Bittrex. Okay, so that is an overview of the Bitrix24 system for you today. So in summary, we have looked at the CRM and the marketing features inside Bittrex. We've looked at how we can manage projects and tasks in the system, and we've also seen how we can use HR and collaboration features inside Bitrix24. Now, one last feature I just wanted to briefly talk to you about is the mobile application. So I just wanted to quickly show you this before we finish our demonstration today. So Bittrex does come with a fully working mobile application. So here we can see the mobile app. So we can see all of our tasks that we're working on. We can go into here and see all of our contacts that are in our CRM system. I could maybe even call the contact directly from the mobile app. And I can see all of our leads and deals and the stages that those deals are at. So it gives you all of that functionality that we've seen today inside the Bitrix24 system. And that comes as included with the Bitrix24 license. So I hope you enjoyed that demonstration today. And if you do have any questions at all, please do email sales@interface.com and we'll be happy to set up a meeting with you. Thank you very much.